And so this is the time where I've told you about so many things of the dark that many people fear the dark. But remember, if you understand the truth of the light, then you should not fear the dark, but have faith in the Lord, who is more powerful than everything in the universe and created all things. And we said of the things that God created was even sound. And so as the glad tidings that I didn't greatly communicate to my Muslim brothers and sisters, I said that music is not something that is either haram or halal, meaning prohibited or forbidden. But there are people who understand the nature of music, and this is a thing that if you want to understand music, and I'm not a musician or a person of that nature, so I don't know, but there are songs, as you know, and music that you hear that inspires good, and there are music that you hear that inspires dark. And of that, music itself is a communication, and we said of the weird and strange things that the Quran is music to the other races, and that we know that the aliens or the jinns or the other creatures or races communicate in music, and from that we've given references of India and how that works. But know the glad tidings that music should not be an issue that you argue and debate anymore. Music can be good and bad, and this is why we have references from the Prophet at different times talking about different things. And so on this blessed occasion called Eid, the great celebration, it is known that the Prophet said, enjoy and be happy and sing and even have music. Verify which kinds with the scholars who know the truth, and you can go into the concept of music later. In this, there is a good sign, since we're mentioning music, that I must mention about African Americans or black people, since they always talk about music and rap and different things, since I'm in America talking about it. And since I'm saying that I'm telling you the story of the truth of the light, and I'm trying to explain the mysteries of the universe, if I'm truly able to do that and make everything make sense, then I should be able to explain racism in like 2 or 3 segments, right? I mean, it shouldn't be that difficult. I'm not being arrogant, so please understand. I'm just a white boy. He's the son of Adam. Yeah, I'm a white boy. What you gonna do about it? And the reason that is true is now part for me to tell, like I said. The next segment that has to come in is totally embarrassing. But I must start to make some caveats, because always it is true that as we got from this section where you wanted to know so much about the mysteries of the dark and communicating with the other side, and I'm sorry I can't go into it in more detail because there's so much information there. Please go search on your own, and perhaps at some other time we'll have conversations. But I wanted to continue with this story, which has always been about what? Remember the fundamental. We're searching for the light. Well, let me make one caveat before we go from the darkness conversation to the light. That if I've been talking all this time about darkness and telling you that the word of the Lord is about light, then there is a sign that should come to you, that someone who reveals to you the story of the truth of the light, there should be certain fundamentals. We said that there is only one God. And he created the angels made of the light, and they have wings, and he created jinn, smokeless fire, and that he created Adam. And Adam was breathed of the light. And that Adam has a soul. And that we, all of the human race, are sons of Adam. We live and we die. And after that, it is our souls that are raised up on the day of judgment to live for eternity in punishment or reward in heaven and hell, and all of this is the plan of the Lord. And so if I'm going to reveal all the concepts of the dark that we've just talked about, then I must also, as a bearer of the truth to a civilization or a nation or to a language or to a people, and I am swearing by Allah that this is the first time the whole truth has ever been revealed to a nation, and I will mark this moment by the will of the Lord Most High. It's an amazing thing, Daddy. I pray by Allah that my father is alive to hear this story. It's such an amazing thing, Daddy, that the moment will be marked. That if I'm telling you the truth of the story, I must also be able to explain to you the understanding of the light of the word, and we've been trying to get you to understand how amazing that is, but the sign of someone who finally reveals to a nation what they've never heard before, that when the truth is finally spoken, the person must be able to tell them about their own soul. Isn't that so? A person must be able to explain to you everything about your own soul. Well, obviously, I'm not going to explain to you everything in one moment. But I will tell you at least the basic details, but we're not there yet. I've been talking to you about all of the concepts in darkness and reminding you that we must remember to search for the light. And that this story can never change. And since I'm telling you the story in the first time that it's never been revealed, I have to show you the signs of the fundamentals again so that you understand the next part of the story, and it's embarrassing because it's about me personally. The story is told that there is only one God, angels and jinns. The Lord created Adam and we are given the word. We are at war with the other races. There is light versus darkness. There will be prophets bearing the word of the light in succession. At some point, the final messenger would come. Jesus came, and it was a sign, and ascended, and told us he is coming at the end of days. If he's coming at the very end of days, then the next guy coming must be important. It should be an indication that he is the last messenger, and we explained why that is so. Then the last messenger comes and says, I have the very word of God, preserved the way God spoke it in a way that has never been preserved before, in a language that will exist forever to this day, and anybody can go read and recite the words of the Lord. But I'm telling you, I'm also the prophet of the other races, and they've contacted me, and we're in communication, and there are believing people from the other side. Wow. And that the Quran that we recite is music to them, and they understand it. Can you believe that? Wow. I'm telling you the story of the light. Now, all of that starts to sound happy and good, but we remember that this is the light versus the dark. So every part of my tale must work together. The light versus the dark. And we are trying to be soldiers of the light, holders of the light, bearer witnesses of the light, fighting for the sake of the truth, not any political war, not any enslavement of any of the sons of Adam. We said this story is greater than and grander than any political movement or any tale that you have ever heard. We said this story is called Islam, the tale of truth, those who found the light and submitted to it. And those who do find the light and submit to it are called Muslims. And I'm saying the caveat of many Muslims are those who don't understand the light. So at this point, I must begin to tell you the tale. Because if a person who is going to tell you the tale of the story of light must come to a civilization, then they must be able to tell you exactly who they are. Because by now, if you're not listening to me, and if you just turn this on and are wondering, what is this? Because I'm not a whistleblower, and I'm not telling you some secret conspiracy. I'm telling you a whole tale like you've never heard before. And if you are listening to this for the first time, you have got to be thinking, who the frack is this guy? I mean, really? Where did this guy come from? Who is he? Well, I'm saying right now that at this very moment, I'm in Houston, Texas, in the United States of America. But to tell you the truth of this story, I must disclose some issues. Obviously, I said I'm a son of Adam, so excuse me if I tell you things that are bad about myself. But it is one of the burdens of a person who finally comes to tell the story of the truth, that they have to admit their own faults. Because once you know the story that I'm telling you, your own faults as a son of Adam are insignificant. But as all stories tell, if I have to tell it, and I'm going to be as brief as possible, I must start at the beginning so that you know why it is that I'm telling you this story. If I'm telling you the story of truth, then it must be proof to you how I even got the story. Who is this guy? What the hell is all of this information coming to you about, and how did it get here? My name is Salim Siddiqui. I'm the son of Shamshad Ali Siddiqui. My father is a man from India. He was born and raised in India. Now, India is a country that has some Muslims, but it's a majority pagan country, as we've discussed even in the short reference to music. But if you study the Indian culture, you know that there are tons of pagan rituals and practices and all kinds of strange things going on.